Earlier, we talked about the tube models, right? That how the shape of the vocal tract is determining various complex sounds and then the production of various overtones and frequencies. That's an important idea. So let me explain it a little bit further, right? Vocal tract has different shapes in order to produce different sounds, right? And that's an important technique, an important concept developed by phoneticians, right? And it's quite known now that the idea of the tube models, right? Because the tube, when it's closed at one end, right, and there is a requirement of the resonances for the sake of the production of speech sound, because when the energy is there, the source energy is there, it's further processed, right? So how it is processed and how various overtones are created, right? Like we talked about the production of one vowel, and then our last point in the last session was that how the vowel can be considered as a sum of various pitches at work, right, which are articulated simultaneously by the processes carried out by the glottis and then the resonance created by the shape of the vocal tract in the cavity, right? So that's the idea. Further developing this, that vowels are distinguishable on the basis of the formant frequencies, right? And the first three frequencies are really important, like the F1, F2, and F3, right? From the the values of these three frequencies, we would have the idea that which sound it is, right? And it's particularly important when we are reading spectrographs, right? Because on the basis of the spectrographs, we would be analyzing speech sounds acoustically. So that's an important idea, that vowels are distinguishable with the help of those, formant frequencies, right? Shown as the dark bands in the earlier figures, right? So that's an important technique. And this concept is coming to us with the idea of the vocal tract and the tube models, right? That how tube models are altering how they are used in order to produce speech sounds, right? So the length of the tube is an important aspect, right? That how is this length of the tube, determining the production of a specific speech sound? One example which I can give you is, in a very general example, that when a rounded vowel is produced, like oo, so just imagine that how this length is increased, right? Oo, and if you just compare this with a vowel which is unrounded, that's a clear-cut idea that the vowel which is with rounded, a cavity, rounded lips, that would give us a different shape of the tube, right? And in that case, because the passage would be quite narrow, right? When it is like ooh, ooh, so just imagine that it would be a bit narrow. So the shape would be different, and therefore the frequencies would be different. So that's an important idea, that the length of the tube is important. And tube has physical characteristics. Those physical characteristics of the tube means the physical changes or the physical characteristics of the vocal tract, right? Because there are, all the time processes going on, and the articulators are being modified for a specific speech sound by the speaker. So that's actually the physical characteristics of the shapes of the vocal tract, which do play an important role, right? And they are acting as the acoustic resonators, because we need acoustic resonators in order to provide in order to create overtones within a specific sound. And then the acoustic resonators, they are created on the basis of the frequency responsive curves, right? So there are positions within the vocal tract, right? Those frequency responsive curves, FRCs, which give us the possibility, which create the possibility of giving various frequencies, create various frequencies for a specific speech sound. And that's the function which is played by the resonator, right? So that's the role of the resonator. Response frequencies change in a predictable way. Unpredictable way, like when the tube is squeezed, right? And when it is, reshaped for another sound, right? Like, just imagine about the production of a fricative S sound. S, right? So the S sound is like if the total shape, the total size of the tube is 17.5 for an average American speaker, right? From larynx to the lips, it is 17.5 centimeter, okay? And it is different for women, and then it's again different for children, right? So that's an important idea that we are squeezing up with that shape. So if you just think about the the squeezing of the vocal tract for a specific speech sound, and the idea which I give you is the production of fricative s. So in the case of the fricative s, when you are starting from your alveolar ridge to the lip, so it is quite a short size for the tube at that place, right? And that would be like 2 to 3 centimeter. So that's an idea that how this sizing of the vocal tract, the tube model, that provide us the opportunity to create complex overtones and therefore complex sounds. Let me show you the concept that how this is being developed, like the muscles, right? When they are there, okay, and how it is, the source is providing to it from the lungs, and this is, the vocal cords, right? So this is the source, and from here is this concept of tube, right? So that's the tube which is started from here, right? So there are curves, okay? These are the curves, you see. The resonator has these curves, and they actually change the shape of the, the frequencies, basically, the values of the frequencies. And when it is a nasal sound, then you can also think about the tube shape. So that's the idea of the tube models, that how it is changing the various frequencies, and how is the resonance, the resonating frequencies, they are altered in order to produce different sounds with different frequencies. So it's just in order to give you the rough idea of the tube, this figure is presented here.